You're not really into politics. Okay, it's fair enough. But what are you into? Transformers?
Yeah, you got a problem with it? Okay, look, I just wanted to make a video talking about Michael Bay potentially coming back to the Transformers franchise and how it could be really cool, and go into a little bit of like the production of these movies, because I'm a film buff and a filmmaker, and as I went down the rabbit hole, I just realized that the reason movies look as cool as they do is because of the military, and now this is the video that we're making.
Disgusting.
Okay, a little bit of backstory. Michael Bay is potentially coming back to direct another Transformers movie. Direct and write, which could be, one, just really freaking awesome, because movies and media nowadays absolutely suck.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
There is like maybe 5 movies that have come out in the last 6 years that I give even remotely half a shit about. I know that I'm like the Star Wars guy on the gun side of everything, but like Star Wars is dead, right? We can agree. Like the sequels weren't really that good. Disney Plus has just beat that dead horse until it's just asking to be killed.
By the same thread.
Wait a minute!
Marvel died with Tony Stark, and just pretty much nothing new is getting made. I don't think I've seen an original movie with a new concept outside of Christopher Nolan's work in the last 5 years. It's just remake after remake, or the stuff that I do enjoy is just anniversary showings like Revenge of the Sith. One of the very few movies that I think was really good was actually Transformers 1. A new take and a new art direction of a franchise that I have loved ever since I was a kid. Nobody went and saw it because the marketing was absolute dog shit.
Knife hands? I have knife hands!
Michael Bay coming back to direct a Transformers movie, one, gives us the opportunity to potentially get a wrap-up of the Bayverse, which I think would be absolutely insane. Look, all I'm saying is that if you get Shia, Megan, Tyrese, and Josh Duhamel all in a Transformers movie together, again, we will make Endgame look like a joke. That Scorponok scene is the greatest military ad ever devised.
We need air support, and we need it now. Roll in strike package Bravo on unknown target. I authenticate Tango Whiskey at time 0300 Zulu.
I'm a 96 kid. I grew up in like the 2000s, so prequels, Transformers, that, Lord of the Rings, that's my shit. That's what I grew up loving, and more so really than anything else, Transformers got me into wanting to become a filmmaker. There's a lot of things about this movie that really set it apart from other stuff. Number one being the CGI. The CGI in these movies looks better than pretty much anything I've seen in the last, 15 years. Even the last 2 Transformers movies had better looking visuals than, the last 15 Marvel movies. Basically anything on Disney Plus, if it wasn't made before Disney Plus was a thing, it looks like garbage. Michael Bay knows how to make shit look good.
You'll never stop at one. I'll take you all on!
I get it.
But another thing that makes these movies look really, really good is the cameras and the lenses that Bay used on the first 3 Transformers. Look, I know I'm a gun channel, but this is really where I just go crazy with, the tism, right? Film already has a very cool look to it. It's already got a really crisp, nice image that comes off of it. It's got this very naturalistic look, and then Bay's color correction on top of that just elevates it to the nth degree. But another thing that makes these movies look really, really good is a lot of the times the type of glass that you use to shoot on. The lenses that are used. And for Bay, the lenses that were used were Ingenue and Cook anamorphic lenses. Anamorphic lenses take a wider field of view and they squish it down because they're not circular like a lot of the lenses that you usually see people running with cameras. The Sony G Masters, the Canon L series. Basically all of those are kind of photography lenses that people use for video most of the time. They're great for video lenses, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. But anamorphic lenses are very specifically made for feature film use and for motion picture uses. Here's a bit of like an example of what I'm talking about, the differences between spherical and anamorphic lenses. So what we're filming on right now is my 50mm 1.4 Canon spherical photo/video lens. This is the typical lens that I shoot a lot of my photos on. This is also what I shoot a lot of my videos on. It's probably one of my favorite lenses. 50mm is probably my favorite focal length, if we're being honest. This is a 24 Series U anamorphic lens, and we'll swap to this in just a minute, but just to give you guys a little bit of an ADD break, we'll shoot the M16A4 that we're doing a video on. So, there we go. So now that you've seen this shot on a regular spherical lens, let's swap over to the anamorphic and see the differences. So this is the lens that we were filming on. This is a spherical lens. This is my 50mm. And now we're on the 50mm anamorphic lens. Now the whole video that you guys have been watching has been edited in the anamorphic aspect ratio. So from the 50mm, I've shrunk it down so you can see the difference in aspect ratio. That was the 50mm. This is the 50mm anamorphic. Now it's not an exact one-to-one comparison because I do have to crop in on my sensor to film with these anamorphic lenses. They're not full frame lenses like my camera, so I do have to kind of adjust them a little bit, but hopefully I can get my hands on some full frame anamorphic lenses in the future and then really do like a better comparison. But you guys saw the M16A4 shot on the spherical. Now let's see it on the anamorphic. I'm working on this video right now, and this thing's just a blast. This is just an example between just the two types of lenses that I have. I really like the anamorphics, but they are all manual, so they have to either be on tripod or they have to be manually managed whenever you're shooting. There is no autofocus on these things. There are a couple autofocus anamorphic lenses. I don't have any of those. I don't have any experiences with them. This is sort of my first steps into anamorphic filming, but I mean, as it is right now, I'm really happy with it. I really like shooting with these things. Okay, this is a gun channel turning into a film channel for a little bit, but essentially the thing that makes these lenses really unique is that they have a more oval aperture on the back, and they've got these square front elements on it. Basically what that oval does and the way that the glass works is that it takes a wider field of view and it squishes it down into a condensed stuff, so when you go back in post, you have to de-squeeze it. That's if you ever watch like film YouTube or camera YouTube and you hear anamorphic lenses being talked about, you'll hear de-squeeze a lot. Basically what these lenses enable you to do is they enable you to get that wide cinescope aspect ratio, getting a wider field of view. They're really, really cool. They're really, really sought after, and other than these series or like a couple other of the budget stuff, usually these lenses go for a lot of money. The lenses that Michael Bay was using for the Transformers movies, if you were to buy those lenses outright, they'd probably run you close to a new F-150. Actually, they're not guns, I can tell you the price. They're like $30,000 to $50,000. Some lenses that you find out there are upwards of $60,000. These are right up there with the prices of like some of those more high-end cinema cameras. A lot of people talk about Reds, but Reds are really budget compared to a lot of the other stuff out there. Arialexas, Panavision 35mm film cameras, Aeroflex 35mm film cameras. Those cameras often run upwards of $50,000 to $60,000 to $70,000. And the reason that these things exist is 100% because of the military. This is where my video went from, oh, Michael Bay's coming back to direct Transformers, to everything you like is because of the military, and it's kind of like infuriating.
The mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail.
Back in the 1920s, there was a French astronomer named Henry Chrétien. I just know I am mispronouncing that. I apologize. Anyway, in the 1920s, a lot of the warfare that had recently been fought was trench warfare. So what Henry Chrétien essentially did was he developed a way for using spherical lenses to have a wider field of view. In 1920, he developed and patented the concept of what would eventually become the anamorphic lens. And these things were mainly used in periscopes, mainly to look out of trenches to be able to see what was in front of you, you know, so you don't pop your head up and get your head taken off by machine gun fire. But essentially what these lenses enabled you to do is they enabled you to get a wider field of view of the area in front of you, which is very useful if you need to be able to see as much as possible coming up out of a trench. Coming down to the 1950s and 60s, 20th Century Fox would take this concept and they would incorporate it into their cinescope lenses. And they would start using it to shoot all of their movies on cinescope, which would eventually lead into what we call anamorphic. Yeah, basically the entire thesis of this video is that the reason that Transformers looks as freaking cool as it does, and the reason that a lot of dudes want to get their hands on these lenses because they were used in so many movies that we grew up watching and liking, is because dudes in trenches in no man's land needed to see better when they were looking out of the trenches. And anamorphic lenses aren't the only things that were like developed by the military that like just get common day usage nowadays. Microwaves, beanies, ball caps, trench coats, aviator sunglasses, the boots that we like wearing. Most of this was developed because the military needed shit like that. And then it just made its way into the civilian market and got incorporated in one way or the other. But aside from that tangent, I am very, very excited. Hopefully Michael Bay does come back to the Transformers movies. Like I said, a lot of stuff that we've been getting recently has been, for lack of the better term, I just think subpar. I just think that production companies have gotten complacent with a lot of the media that they're producing. And I could really, really go for somebody like Michael Bay, really getting involved, getting ahead, and just charging full on to really bring something unique, special, and really just bring life back into Hollywood. Tom Cruise really fought hard for Top Gun Maverick and Mission Impossible to keep those movies what they are, and I think those are some of the few standouts that we've seen in the last couple of years. Everything else is kind of slap, so sorry for this weird little tangent, but I am stoked to see Michael Bay return to the franchise. And I'm stoked to keep shooting more on anamorphic lenses. Definitely going to be shooting more on these. Definitely have some fun things coming up in the works. So really excited for the future of the page, guys. Thank you so much for checking this video out. Got nothing else for you. I'll see you next time.